In the chat, we have Sebastian Pruiti, the hardest working man in blogging business, the guy who's up till 4 a.m., just all hours of the night, coming up with all kinds of crazy tidbits about strategy and coaching and great film stuff. Everyone loves him. Sebastian, how are you doing? Nice to have you on.
What's going on, guys? Guys,
Nothing much, nothing much. I guess we can hear you just fine. I can hear you just fine, at least.
Yeah.
I guess what I want to know is that you seem to have a lot of Klay Thompson love. What gives this love of Klay Thompson? What do you like about him?
Well, my biggest thing is I like shooters, and Anthony Morrow, Steph Curry, and I think Klay Thompson's one of the best, probably the best shooter in the draft, maybe just behind Jimmer, and Ben Hansborough's up there too. But I mean, his stroke, he's got a smooth stroke. He's tall enough where he's going to be able to shoot it over defenders, and I think his defense. He's not a great defender, but he's a better defender than people are giving him credit for.
Sebastian, let's pretend that Marshawn Brooks is as good as I hope he is. Between Marshawn Brooks, Klay Thompson, Alec Burks, especially like if you're having to pick them anywhere from 18 to 20, who's going to end up being the better player for where they're drafted? Or does the part where this draft is so similar 4 through 60, does that even matter? Like where they're drafted, it's just who ends up being the best player.
Out of those three guys you mentioned, I like Thompson the most, and then Alec Burks, because I think Burks a little bit more explosive than Brooks, and then Brooks is like slightly behind Burks. But I think I like Klay Thompson the most is just because he can play the most defense out of everybody.
Sebastian, is it possible that you didn't get your Thompsons mixed up during one of those 4 a.m. film editing sessions? Because John Hollinger really seems to like Tristan Thompson.
I like Tristan Thompson too. I mean, he's very active. He's raw on the offensive end, but you don't need him to post guys up. He'll get offensive rebounds. He'll put them back, and he does a good job of cutting off the basketball, finding open spaces as a guy's driving, like to make a catch and a dunk. And he plays good defense. So I'm high on both Thompsons.
Okay, Sebastian. Jimmer Fredette, how good can he be in the league? Mm-hmm. And is it stupid to draft him in the lottery?
I was hoping Beckley was here because I feel like we have the same opinion about Jimmer and Ben Hansborough. But, I mean, is he going to go in the lottery? Probably. Should he? I mean, it's tough because, like you guys were talking about defense before I hopped on here. I mean, to me, I feel like it's a concern. And he's going to have to play some off the ball, too. He's not going to be always the point guard for whatever team he's playing with. And I think his off the ball instincts aren't as good as they could be. And he can always improve his defense. He can always improve his off the ball stuff. I just don't know if he's going to improve it to enough to make him a quality player. He'll be, like Zach said, he'll be a guy who could come off the bench and take a lot of shots. And if he finds a team with that role, he can be productive. But if a team's going to ask him to play a little bit off the ball, play some defense, he'll struggle.
Hey, Sebastian, I've been noticing that you've been breaking down a lot of European game film recently, which either speaks to the breadth of your knowledge and your assiduousness or speaks to lockout desperation, but I've been enjoying the content. And what I want to know is, what differences do you perceive in their game compared to our game, and what can American coaches perhaps learn from European coaches?
It's a lot more, what I noticed with the offense, it's a lot more like motion offenses where they're not running sets for a specific option, but they're not running the flex, but it's the same, I guess, logic where you're running this option over and over, looking for an open area, waiting for the defense to fall asleep somewhere, a cross screen to get someone open. It's not like you're running a pin down screen for Kobe Bryant you give them the basketball, and that's it. That's the end of the play. You're running an option, and there's stuff going on the weak side. If that first option's not there, you swing the ball, and you just go through it again. And the motion offense, I think, is the biggest thing. And then the second biggest thing is they like to foul up to, like, in the last 10 seconds just so they can have the last possession. And that's strange. I don't know. The stats people say it works out more times than not, but I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, Sebastian. First of all, audience members, you can click that submit a question red button. I think it's right there on your screen to ask Sebastian or any of us questions, text questions, video questions, whatever you want to do. Let's talk about Ricky Rubio for a second, because I'm trying to keep my excitement somewhat grounded, but at the same time, I want to watch this kid throw the basketball into the third row or into Kevin Love's hands, wherever. You wrote a fantastic breakdown on NBA Playbook about him. Compare him to, like, maybe the other guards in this draft, like Kyrie Irving, Brandon Knight. You know, where do you see him in that kind of tier? Like, where is he among those guys, and can he end up being the best rookie out of this coming class?
He can be. It all depends on his development of his shot off the dribble. If he can at least get that percentage up to maybe 33, 35% and be at least a threat where a team's going to have to put a hand up, then he becomes a much better passer, because the teams have to worry about him. They can't just back off of him. In terms of playmaking out of the pick and roll and isolation situations, I think Rubio's probably going to be the best out of guys like Irving and Knight. But right now, in terms of scoring and getting their own offense, Knight and Irving are well above Rubio.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, we're getting somewhere that people are. Looks like we're gonna have a video question now. We don't. Okay, well, moving on. I just wonder if you have any draft sleepers based on your analysis of European and also of American college players, apart from the Klay Thompson, who I'm not so high on. Is there anybody else you like out there, Bassie?
Yeah, Pertan's out of Lithuania or Latvia. I don't know where he's from, but I guess he's 6'10", 6'8", like around that height. A real skinny 18-year-old, and he's a shooter. 60% of his possessions were either spot-up shooting or off screens, and he's got a really smooth stroke. So he's a guy, I think either the Mavs or the Spurs. I think the Spurs promised a pick to him, but I think the Mavs might pick him ahead of the Spurs, that is. And he's going to be stashed, but either way, he's a good player. And I'm really high on both Reggie Jackson and Ben Hansborough. I feel like they can both play significant minutes in a backup role at the point guard position.